So you want to know how your local politicians are defrauding the public of their funds? I'll tell you. The Securities Act of 1933. Okay, that was established as a result of the Great Depression. Also, you had the Glass-Steagall Act. That was enacted as a result of the Great Depression in order to separate commercial from investment banking. All right, and then I think it was the Clinton administration that did away with the Glass-Steagall Act in order to open up a pathway to global prosperity or something like that. The point being is that that's what happened. That's where we're at now currently. Like you had the 2008 financial crisis, and then you had the housing market that imploded, right? It's all fraud. It's all fractional reserve banking. All right? That means that what you think you have in your account, you only have a fraction of, because the banks are lending all of this out. Right? The banks are taking everything, because the likelihood of everybody going to their bank and then just getting all their funds out at the same time is unlikely. But you had, in 2009, I think it was Citibank that kind of changed their rules in case there would be a bank run, because they were anticipating that there would. So they were telling customers that if you want to give more than $2,000 or something out, that you would have to let the bank know in advance. And so that's what I'm saying. It's like these people, industry insiders, know what I'm talking about. That's why you had all these fat cats from Goldman Sachs and others, just like going berserk. Up until now, they still do, because they know what figures they're looking at, and these people are mathematically competent. They understand the situation. So, but your local mayor, when they're issuing municipal bonds, they're more often than not, they're violating the Securities Act of 1933, and then there's another one, I think, the Securities Act of 1934. But the point being is that what they do is they issue municipal bonds, right, based on projected figures. Okay, this is all of them cooking the books, right? They look at the resources they have, like what revenue they anticipate based on current and ongoing projects, most of which are funded by debt. This is all projected figures. These are all numbers that where they get their money from. They get loans from banks, right? That's why that's why you have the national debt being what it is. So, what municipalities do is they have municipal bonds that they issue at like 0 to low interest rates to insiders. It's like somebody that the mayor knows. Okay? So in layman's terms, that's what they do. And then they give those municipal bonds away to their criminal friends who are first in line to bid on those bonds. Like there's no competition whatsoever. They already have their mind made up as to who's going to get those municipal bonds. It's not like they're like there's a bidding and then there's fair competition. There's none of that. And then those people turn around and sell the bonds at an interest rate to whoever wants membership to their criminal organization. And then so that's what you have when you look at the Federal Reserve. All right, that's what you have with them. The Federal Reserve, what do? They issue banks money at 0 to low interest rates, right? Well, what banks are those, Mr. Bernanke? Well, anyone who's a member of the Federal Reserve System, which is a quasi private government entity. The Federal Reserve acknowledges this on their own website, unless they've changed and updated their website to reflect otherwise. The Federal Reserve is a private corporation. They say that themselves. They're under contract with the government as a result of the Federal Reserve Act of 1913. Okay? So what the Federal Reserve does is basically equivalent. That set the model for what the municipalities are doing. Okay, they're doing the exact same thing the Federal Reserve does. They just change the nomenclature. They have their own local and state rules and regulations. But what the Federal Reserve does is they issue, they give money out to all these banks that are members of the Federal Reserve, right? That are chartered under the Federal Reserve as per the Federal Reserve Act of 1913. So they give all this money at zero to low interest rate to banks like Bank of America and so forth, who then set their own interest rates and lend that money out to the public. But like, isn't it? But you see what I'm saying? Where I'm going with this? This is criminal, straight up. How come the Federal Reserve can't deal with people directly? Why do they need to have a Ponzi scheme? Why do you have to have a pyramid system, yo? Why can't the Federal Reserve? It doesn't matter. You're under the contract with the government, right? As the Federal Reserve. The U.S. Department of Treasury prints the money. They have to get permission from the Federal Reserve, which is a quasi-government. They're a private corporation under contract with the government, but the U.S. Department of Treasury is a government entity, but they have to get permission from the Federal Reserve to print the money. Like, hey, we need to print this much money or whatever. The Federal Reserve has to approve that. They're an independent agency. They haven't been audited since, I think, the 1960s. That was a private audit. That's who's in control of your money supply. It's a scam. Don't you guys get it? It's a fraud. Hey, I'm just trying to expose the fraud, yo. So look, this is what they do. Then, the federal, why don't see, I lost track. I'm digressing. Why don't they deal with the public directly is my question if they're the government. Oh, and I was going to say, and it's the U.S. Department of Treasury prints your money, and then it's the U.S. Mint that actually coins. So the U.S. Mint can actually fix all this, in my opinion. They can, and I think they've tried. But the point being is that, like, if you want to offset the debt, you got to get the government back in control of your money supply. You can't have a quasi-government private entity like the Federal Reserve, which acknowledges this. This isn't me making it up. I'm not getting into conspiracy theories. I'm talking about what they're saying. They know that. This is on their website. I've done my research. I don't want to hear any arguments to try to counter what I'm saying, because the Federal Reserve isn't federal. They acknowledge this. The U.S. Department of Treasury is. So is the U.S. Mint. The Federal Reserve, no. So that's what your local municipalities are doing. They're using the Federal Reserve model to commit municipal bond fraud in violation of the Securities Act of 1933. Somebody please call the Securities Exchange Commission, or the SEC. I think they offer bounties for this stuff, yo. You can file a whistleblower complaint. They'll give you bounties if you catch these municipalities committing municipal bond fraud. Any kind of violation that violates the Securities Act, or it falls under the Security Exchange Commission's jurisdiction, they'll pay you a bounty. They'll give you money. They have you can file a whistleblower complaint, and then you can also get a whistleblower attorney that'll help you. So that's the point of all this. Stop this nonsense. That's why everybody's mad and disgruntled, yo, because everybody knows that the public is being taken advantage of by municipalities at a local level, in the state, with the DMV, and the federal government doesn't want to talk about the Federal Reserve because everybody knows what's going on with them, because that's not even the government, that's a private entity. And I'm just saying, these are facts. I'm stating the facts, that those are facts. That's the Federal Reserve acknowledges this. I'm not trying to incite any kind of protest or anything. I'm just saying that we as the public and we the people are being taken advantage of in that sense. And until you address that, we shouldn't be talking about anything else until we talk about that. That's where it's at. They want everybody out there inciting violence. They want that. They want people running up to the Capitol like they did on January 6th to make a bad example of folks, that all the good people that are actually fighting for constitutional rights. 'Cause that's not the way to go about that. The way to go about it is to have an intelligent debate or discussion, which starts with the Securities Act and how most governments issuing municipal bonds are in violation thereof. These people need to be dealt with intelligently. That's all I'm saying. They need to be addressed. When you, hey, it's like KRS once said this. When you go to Burger King and you got a like they mess up your order or whatever, right? You say, I want to talk to the manager of Burger King, right? All right. Well, we want to talk to the manager of Burger King. Somebody messed up the Publix burger, and then, but you never see the franchise owner, right? You never get to talk to the franchise owner. All right, okay. We've been complaining long enough. Now, where's the franchise owner to deal with all this? I'm just saying. That's all I'm gonna say. All right, guys. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Subscribe. Hit that like button. Follow me on Twitter, Discord, WhatsApp. Subscribe to my podcast. And until next time.